Welcome to Bobby Does Recaps. This is Talamasca, The Secret Order Season 1. Buckle up, everyone, because this show's all about a shadowy organization keeping tabs on vampires, witches, and everything else that goes bump in the night. Pull in a mind-reading lawyer who's in way over his head, and it's non-stop espionage with fangs, spells, and enough double crosses to make your head spin. Absolute chaos in the best way, straight from the world of Anne Rice. The show kicks off with Agent Soledad sneaking into a London office at night, downloading secret files onto a USB, and bolting while dodging some creepy zombie-like goons led by this vampire boss, Jasper. She hides the drive right before they corner her in a train yard, and bam, she steps in front of the train to avoid capture. Wild start, right? Now cut to New York, where Helen, this no-nonsense Talamasca higher-up, gets a package with Soledad's eye and a creepy "we see you" note. She's worried, knows it's Jasper's warning, and swears to replace Soledad fast because they're onto something big in London. Meanwhile, our protagonist Guy Antal is nailing a law firm interview by straight up reading the boss's minds. Yeah, he's got a psychic gift that's been messing with him since he was a kid. He lands the gig, but afterwards Helen tails him, offers him $5,000 just for a chat, and pitches the Talamasca as this elite supernatural watchdog group that wants his talents. Guy's skeptical, of course, grabs the cash and dips, but he heads home to grill his foster mom, who drops that the Talamasca has been bankrolling him forever. Shook, he stalks Helen back, demands answers about his real parents. She denies knowing anything, but takes him to meet Burton, this ancient vampire in a swanky penthouse who mind chats with Guy, warns him the Talamasca's shady, and even somehow warps him out the window to test him. Guy, freaking out at this point, storms out, but that night Burton sneaks in and leaves a clue in a book, pointing to a name. Fast forward a little bit, Guy crashes a book reading by this guy, Daniel Malloy, the same character from Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. Yup, he's reading that book. Guy confronts him out back, reading his mind, hearing the numbers 752, and gets an old photo of his mom, Anna. Malloy warns him off joining, saying they're using you. Guy's reeling, tracks down Helen, and signs on, but with conditions. No lies, and she makes sure his law job is still there when he's done. So Helen fakes a family death, covers his leave, trains him quick on spy basics, you know, the cliff notes, and ships him to London undercover as a messed up ex-lawyer working the door at a strip club. She warns him that the London branch has gone rogue and he's only to observe while he waits for contact. First night in London, Guy hacks into Talamasca files on his mom, but everything's redacted. So he hits the local pub, flirts with this witch Keeves. Guy doesn't know she's a witch, by the way. They club it up, make out with her friend Olive, who whispers to Guy, "You're in so much trouble." And Guy ends up hooking up with Keeves that night for some hanky-panky. Next day, Guy spots his dead drop signal, decodes Helen's message to tail Archie, a hitman for the London branch. Guy telepathically eavesdrops on Archie's meeting with Jasper and Owen, the official head of the London branch. But Jasper senses Guy's presence, so he stops and learns nothing. Guy ends up following Archie afterwards to a flat. Here's a fight, bursts in, Archie's throat is slit, and Keeves is hanging dead. Archie gasps about a book before dying, but Guy panics and bolts out of there without grabbing it. So much for observing only, eh? Things get more intense when Guy hits up a coded meetup with Helen and sees Olive. Turns out, Olive's his handler. Helen spills the beans. The 752 is this legendary codex with all Talamasca's secrets, stolen after a fire torched their Amsterdam archives back in 1972. So it turns out Keeves was actually an extractor witch. Archie might have killed her over the possibility that she has the 752. Guy recalls her big book, figures that's the 752, but after he returns to the flat later, the bag's there, but no book. So Guy crashes Keeves' wake, meeting her coven, gets side-eyed by someone there, and meets Doris, who blocks his mind reading and calls him out as Talamasca. Over at the London branch, we find out Owen has cancer and Jasper's keeping him alive with vampire blood in exchange for loyalty and running the London office. Oh yeah, by the way, vampire blood heals humans. In the real world, police officer Ridge is investigating the murders, finds Guy's hair at the scene, and pulls CCTV of him tailing Archie. Meanwhile, Helen digs into her own past at an old mansion where they experimented on her as a kid orphan. She has flashes of getting separated from her twin sister. Guy tracks her down and confronts her at the mansion, learns Jasper's a vamp running London, and his mom Anna's a fugitive Talamasca agent they're hunting. Yep, his mom's still alive. Helen admits using Guy as bait, but still pushes him to infiltrate the London office. So of course, Guy marches right in, grills Owen, then calls out Jasper on camera. Jasper emerges. Guy pitches an alliance to burn Talamasca down, says he knows Keyes had the 752, offers info swap. Jasper bites, but he won't let him leave. Just a heads up, Doris has been following Guy as well, and she's watching from outside. Next day, Guy wakes up and spends a creepy day with Jasper. Later that night, Jasper sends Guy undercover to the Westcroft Hotel, this vampire mob den. He's sent there to mind scan for the 752. Doris follows Guy to the hotel, and Guy ignores her warnings to stay away. Then he leaks up with the shady dealer Raglan, who sells him out upstairs to the head vamp. Guy stalls with a mind trick party game while Jasper's revenant vampire sneaks through the window and slaughters everyone off screen. Gore everywhere, limbs flying. It was great. But it turns out this whole deal wasn't for the 752. It was for vampire blood. They had this 700-year-old vampire in the back room forever. Who knows? Jasper, of course, mercy twists his head off to be nice. But all that and no 752. Now Jasper accuses Guy of lying, hauls him to the London mother house, and tries turning him into a revenant vampire. But Doris bursts in like a boss with a homemade flamethrower, torches Jasper, and saves Guy. They flee with Jasper's revenant on the hunt. While on the run, Guy and Doris bond, get to know each other a bit, and question Helen's motives. Now we get a flashback to the 80s. Two henchmen with totally rad hairdos escorting a vampire down a hallway while talking about the recent song, We Are the World. The vampires coerced by Houseman, the head of the Talamasca, to turn an unconscious girl into a vampire. More on that later. Back in the present, Ridge finally nabs Guy and Doris and brings them in for questioning. But Olive, pretending to be MI5, swoops in and takes custody. But Olive then tries to abduct Doris. Turns out she's the mole. But the joke's on her. Doris vamps out and kills the driver and almost kills Olive as well. Yup, Doris is a vampire. So Doris spills the beans. She's Helen's twin, has a photographic memory, and was turned vamped to store Talamasca knowledge forever. But she escaped and has been on the run ever since. Helen, having learned that Doris is her sister, is able to get passports to them, and they are able to quietly escape on a train. Meanwhile, Houseman's goons bag Jasper and kill his revenants. Jasper's hauled to Houseman, the older version because the last one we saw was back in the 80s. He forces him to atone by turning a room of unconscious folks into vampires. This is like Jasper's dream. We cut back to Guy and Doris, and they are escaping on some type of boat, and Doris vows to help find Guy's mom, Anna. She thinks she knows where she is. And that's where Talamasca, The Secret Order Season 1 comes to an end. If you like this recap, please hit that like button and subscribe for more of the best recaps.